You might think that NBA players choose their jersey numbers at random, but there are actually some interesting stories about how certain players acquired their numbers. One player chose his number after being bullied into it, while another did so in the wake of the worst tragedy of his life. However, Klay Thompson's number acquisition is one of the most peculiar. But before we dive in, if you're new to the channel, welcome to Hoopscape. Here we provide you with interesting videos and updates on all things basketball. Today we will provide you with all the information you need to catch up on regarding how NBA players get their jersey numbers. The strangest thing about how Klay obtained his number is that he didn't even pick it. Instead, it chose him, and the origin of the narrative began with how Klay was raised. Furthermore, the K in Klay's name is the 11th letter of the alphabet, living in the 11th residence on the 11th road. He had always assumed that these 11s were merely a coincidence, but in 2011, everything changed. At the NBA draft, this was the year Klay had a chance to realize his goals, and one by one, the selections came in. Klay entered the NBA after being selected with the 11th overall choice in the 2011 drought. Because 11 was a constant in his life, he knew right away what jersey number he needed to choose. And after he began donning it, it enabled him to make history in 2022, 11 years after he initially chose the number 11. He scored 60 points in his most famous game on just 11 dribbles. It's still going on because Klay won a championship either selecting him or selecting that number. Incredibly successful. But the selection John Morant made almost led to a dispute with a whole nation. John always wore the number 12, and while doing so, he rose to prominence as a player in both high school and college. However, at both of those institutions, the number was retired, so he was forced to continue the tradition by wearing the number in the NBA. However, the moment he was selected, John realized there was a problem. Yes, the Grizzlies chose him with the second overall choice, but someone else on the team not only had his favorite shirt, Euro Autonomy, already, it was one of the most popular numbers. Although he may appear to be an ordinary player, he is one of only 2 Japanese players in the entire league. The Swiss shirt became the most popular jersey in all of Japan after outselling all of the big stars. Watanabe knew that the new kid had the potential to upset an entire nation, so they had a conversation despite the fact that John wanted Watanabe's jersey number changed. According to John, first it was him congratulating me on everything, then we got into the number talk or whatever, and I just told him I didn't want to mess anything up for him. He was like, "Oh, nah, it's okay, and if you want number 12, you can get it." So after that, Chad got his favorite number. However, one player had such a strong desire for a certain jersey number that it resulted in a 6-figure purchasing extravaganza. One number has always held a special place in LaMelo's heart. Literally, LaMelo, the number 1, was his everything. The dude got it tattooed on his chest. He wore it while in high school, when playing overseas, and when LaMelo was selected by the Hornets. However, he knew that his life would not be as simple as John's. In order to avoid having to wear a number he had never worn before, LaMelo's future colleague Malik Monk, who already owned the number 1, refused to give it up. In an attempt to persuade Malik to change, he even tweeted, "Hey yo, Ahmad Monk, what's good? You know you want 5. But Malik was still refusing. When LaMelo went off, he was compelled to keep writing about the phone number he really desired. LaMelo fought for a new jersey number every day, and during interviews, people began to query him about his motivations. LaMelo detested having number 2, therefore, he made an effort to persuade everyone that he was actually the real number 1. LaMelo ordered many chains of the number 1, not just 1, not 2, but countless, just so everyone would see how desperately he sought the number every time cameras caught him. But it wasn't until one last interview that the Hornets realized they had to take action. When Malik Monk's contract expired in free agency, the Hornets let him join with another team so the number 1 would become available. And finally, they realized how much the number 1 meant to him. LaMelo was delighted because his pranks had actually worked. It didn't take long for him to share the surprise on Instagram, and at Media Day, he exuded more happiness than ever. At least LaMelo got to pick his own number, nevertheless, another guy was bullied into it. Nobody would anticipate an NBA player finding out how he earned his jersey number like Zach LaVine did. He's always been fearless, after all. He can choose to take a risky shot to win the game or risk getting hurt by throwing down a wild slam. No matter what he's doing, you can always hear him rapping the number 8 and watching him perform like Kobe Bryant, the player he admired as a child. However, as Zach noted, he only partially wears his idol's number to ensure that everybody who watches him play also remembers Kobe. Zach originally received the phone number for quite an unpleasant reason. When Zach was selected in the draft, he wanted to wear a number that represented the person who meant the most to him, his father. After all, who better to show love to than the person who put Zach through extreme workouts and helped him enter the league in the first place? And Zach's father once wore the number 14. It was exactly what Zach desired, but was unable to have. All because his teammate, Nikola Pekovic, frightened the hell out of him. No, I understand. I would also be terrified of a player who assaults grown men. Zach played the entire game by himself, but it appears that he simply picked his jersey number to try to get it outlawed, as LeBron James did. LeBron wasn't your ordinary high school student, therefore the mystery around his numbers began there. He appeared to be a grown guy facing off against children. He rose to prominence as one of the finest high school basketball players ever. Fans all over the world were referring to LeBron as the next Michael Jordan before he even set foot on an NBA court or graduated. And paradoxically, it was Jordan who inspired LeBron to choose the number 23. LeBron initially had no qualms about imitating his idol, so when the Cavaliers selected him in the draft, he naturally grabbed the number 23. LeBron achieved brilliance over the years while sporting his favorite number, but finally something didn't feel right, and one night after a game he made a startling surprise. "I believe I'll change my number for the upcoming year. I believe that no NBA player should ever wear a 23, but no one paid attention but LeBron, who chose the number 6 when he joined the Heat the following season. LeBron first insisted he picked the number because it matched the one he wore at the Olympics. Then he said that he chooses the number 6 to represent Julius Erving, another one of his idols. But we all know how LeBron's always handled, and now in 2022 on the Lakers, magically the explanation of why he wears 6 is completely different. Regardless of whether LeBron is telling the truth, he was only attempting to use his statistics ethically. Heartbreaking is the tale of Kevin Garnett's jersey number. After spending his childhood idolizing basketball player Malik Sealy, his NBA career began on the wild side. When Garnett was selected for the NBA, he thought it only fitting to dedicate one of his jersey numbers to him. Garnett donned the number 21, which Malik had worn in college and worn while Garnett was wearing it. He spent his first NBA seasons developing into a star, until he finally grabbed Malik's eye, and the moment he saw the player Garnett was developing into while sporting his number, Malik was determined to join up with the youngster. As they started working together as teammates, it quickly evolved into something more. Once his idol, now his teammate and best friend. Just when Garnett thought their friendship couldn't get any better, his dreams started coming true. Garnett and all of his friends and family attended a surprise birthday celebration that Malik organized for him. Up until the end of the night, Garnett was feeling fantastic and believed that nothing could go wrong. Malik got in his Range Rover and headed home, but as soon as he entered the motorway, the vehicle was struck by a truck, which resulted in his death. With the very next Timberwolves game, the scenario in the NBA universe shook. Nobody was more impacted by the tragedy than Garnett, who not only lost his best friend on the day the two were supposed to go on vacation, but also belonged to the Malik organization. We didn't believe Garnett would ever get over the fact that he would always be sitting next to Malik's locker, and that he wouldn't be there since he was attending Malik's funeral in his place. But then Garnett recalled what Malik had always told him. Garnett came to the realization at the very moment that he no longer desired to play basketball for himself. For Malik, he wanted to give everything. Garnett honored him by wearing the words "To Malik" inside the tongue of his signature sneaker. In order to remember Malik forever, he even had a tattoo of him placed on his right arm. All for Malik, he played differently than he had ever played, and committed the remainder of his career to becoming the best player he could be. As a result, he eventually won the League MVP award and is now regarded as one of the greatest power forwards in NBA history. So there's all the information about the talented NBA players and how they got their jersey number. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel to stay updated with all the interesting, informative topics coming in the future. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.